show him exactly how much enthusiasm we have for an American Idol in Boston. I was a little bit worried because he was at Faneuil Hall for a while. We were like, hello, Elliot, do you think you could come back over here and sit down and talk to us for a minute? All right, so first thing I want to ask you is, as I started prepping for this interview, I was amazed at some of the interesting things about your life. When I spoke to Melinda Doolittle, and there are quite a few people in this room who are actually part of that interview as well, I learned that for the first 12 years of her life, she was tone deaf. Now I find out in doing prep for you that you had so many recurrent ear infections and maybe a perforated eardrum or two. You must have made your parents crazy, ear tubes and all that, that you couldn't hear. So I guess the question is, tell me about that. What was that like when you were growing up and you really, yes, this is your microphone.
Okay,
you can take it out, too. You can take it out if you want. There you go.
All right.
Okay.
Hello.
So tell us what that was like. I mean, you can't hear, and yet you're a singer.
Yeah, I mean, when I was, it's something I've been experiencing since birth. You know, I was just born with bad ears, I guess. And when I was a kid, sometimes I guess kids had their tubes replaced maybe once, sometimes twice, but I had mine replaced like 8 or 9 times. So I was in and out of the hospital, and I would always get ear infections, and then when I was 13, my eardrum in my right ear bursted. So I had to get it replaced, so they put a prosthetic eardrum. And over the years, I guess there was a lot of cartilage and stuff that built up in there, and stuff from the surgery that just remained in there. And ever since then, my eardrum just really hasn't worked up to par in this right ear. So I have one good working ear, and I guess it makes up for the lack of hearing in my right ear. And you know, music is something you really feel before you hear. You know what I mean? And I guess I've just always had that knack for feeling music. It's been a part of who I am and part of my makeup. And you know, my mom was a singer, and I was just blessed with this talent from birth, you know, and it's something that I've always been naturally gifted at, I guess. So.
Well, Brian Wilson is deaf in one ear as well, so you're in really good company, right?
Oh, yeah, those are some good names to be up there with.
So
yeah.
Your mom was a performer. I read a little bit about her. So what was it like growing up in a house where your mom is kind of like, ta-da! You know, what's that like?
Well, my mom wasn't too ta-da-ish, but she definitely sang a lot around me and around us, and played a lot of music, and definitely exposed us to a lot of like early 40s and 50s and 60s kind of classic standards, and old throwback kind of soul music, and so I just kind of adapted to that at a very young age, and I always I would always sing with her, and I guess it's so amazing how things stick with you from a very young age. You know, it was just something I was around at all times. So and it's just so funny because my mom never encouraged me. Not that she never encouraged me to do well in life, but as far as music was concerned, she never really, encouraged me to become a singer, or she wasn't she wasn't a stage mom at all. You know, she just had a love for music, and that's something that we always shared and had a common bond. You know.
So if we were to astro project ourselves back to your house in Richmond, Virginia, when you were growing up, what would have been on the radio?
Let's see. Probably the oldies but goodies station.
Okay.
The golden oldie station is what we always listened to in the car. And then if the radio wasn't on, you would always probably hear my mom or my brother screaming at the top of their lungs, telling me to shut up because I was always singing, and I was very ADHD. I probably still am. You know, I'm like the right brainer of the family. You know, I was always the creative one, so I was always making a lot of noise and annoying a lot of people in my family.
Along the way, I got to believe, though, that somebody was always your biggest fan. Who is that person for you?
That's probably my mom. You know, my mom was just...
It's always the mother. Come on, Mom. Don't forget the love, you know.
She was my, she was my biggest inspiration, and she was, we were very close, and she was very supportive, and just wanted my brother and I to really succeed in life and whatever it was we chose to do. And she was the best mom. She was the best mom ever.
She was not
to be biased, but she was.
Tell me your name in Hebrew.
My name, Ani Ephraim. Ephraim was actually my first name, and Elliot's my middle name. But I just remember, being young and getting older in school. being Yamin, you remember the first day of school, how, like, you'd take roll call, and the teachers would go down
You
the
have to
line.
wait forever for the Y's to come,
Right, exactly, because they went in alphabetical order. And so I always knew when my name was coming up because the teacher would always squint. Like, they would always, the teacher would always squint, and you could tell they were trying to figure out how to pronounce my name, because here it is, Ephraim Yamin. And it just looks kind of hard on paper to pronounce. And so I would always, like, quickly raise my hand, because I would always get embarrassed, because they would always butcher my name, and I just used to raise my hand and go, Elliot, here, and so that's the name I've always gone by, and not that I'm not proud of my name, and my dad's Israeli, so that's where the Hebrew comes from.
You auditioned for season 5 of American Idol right here in Boston, so take us back to that day.
Oh man, well, I just love being back here because I have so many great fond memories of this place, and that was my first time ever here, so.
Did you get lost? You know the streets are from Cow Path.
Are you kidding me? My girlfriend at the time and I, we were at each other's throats because she was driving. We took turns driving, and one of us would try to outdrive one another, because I know where I'm going. Let's go this way. No, I know where I'm going. So the roundabouts really killed us, but eventually we made our way to Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, where the initial cattle call was held. And I was immediately intimidated because there were just thousands. It was just a sea of people there, and there was 10,000 people there. So, when I showed up, I thought, oh man, because I know on the website, when we were checking the website before we figured out where the closest audition would be, there were rules and there were tips, and they were telling us that not everybody who shows up is guaranteed an audition. So when we showed up, it was pouring down raining. One of these typical stories. It was like a monsoon outside, and we just saw a line that was endless of just people waiting to get into the stadium. And I thought for sure I wasn't going to get my shot because we got there kind of not as early as they told us to. And so, we're just waiting out there in the pouring down rain for about 3.5 hours before we made our way into the stadium. And they sat us in our rows, and they made us sing. They made us sing "Singing in the Rain" in unison. So there's 10,000 people at Gillette Stadium. Just imagine everybody
singing in the rain.
Yeah, hey, nice voice.
Oh, thank you.
And so, it was a really cool experience because you saw these, funny people in funny costumes, and then you saw some people who were a little more serious and really often little chorus practicing their songs, and I knew that if I got my shot that I would be okay.
Of all those 10,000 people, though, I don't know about you guys, but I've always wanted to know, how do they sort that out? I mean, how can they possibly, you can't tell me that they actually listen to 10,000 people.
Well, I don't know. I know that my particular row where I was sitting was one of the last few sections called, so I saw a lot of people. I was there for 12.5 hours before I got called, so.
Wow.
It was a long, long day, so just needless to say, there was a lot of people that I saw, either get a gold ticket or, more so, really get kicked to the curb. So, I'm assuming they listen to everybody, but there's no formula. I have no idea what they were looking for. I really don't. People always ask me, well, I didn't make it. I tried out, I didn't make it. What is it? Can you give me some advice on what to do or how to? And I'm the last guy to ask because I really don't know. I don't know what they saw in me. Maybe they just liked what they heard and saw the potential in me, I guess, and I try not to ask too many of those questions because I just try to look forward, and I'm just really fortunate that I made it through.